The whole crowd is looking, come on, go. Why, And when it all boils down to it, it's just you, this machine, but you're only on 2 inches of rubber. Like there's nothing.
Yeah.
It's a incredible concept.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get faster than everyone else, but really you're trying to combine all these different factors into this one piece of rubber.
Yeah. Yeah, see, it's really different with like that. You find motocross is quite like, I've would have watched the motocross for years. Like if you name any rider, even in Australia and America, I do know them. I love watching motocross. It was huge in my life for a few years, and I watched every single episode of every single race for years. And when you watch it, it's so different how in motocross, in one lap, you can make so many mistakes with like bumps and ruts and jumps and kickers and everything. If you watch the Super Bowl this year and all that in the MX Nationals, they can from first for 20th can be set out by 6 to 8 seconds or something, which is really good because, you got to be the right rider to make a perfect lap. But when you go to road racing, there's 0.8 of a second between the top 17. And when you've got that many people on track at the same time, shoving it up your insides, all they got to do is put one inside up, and that's you from 1st to 17th. Yeah. So it's a huge difference in racing, but it's all the same stuff. Like you said, it's just you, your bike, and if you place it in the right spot, well, yeah, you're going to get the ride out of it.
Yeah. But and at the same time, the guys that are up the top all the time, you can just, wow, he's clearly good.
Yeah, the thing is, in ours is, there's riders that like, I see them at the top of the time list all the time, and I go, far out, they must be going fast. And I tag on with them, and they've got like no corner speed or something. But what they do is like, especially the Japanese bloke, he's actually leading the championship by about 70, 80 points. He's just nailed everything. And I don't know how he does it. I haven't worked it out yet.
It'd have to be weight.
It'd
have to be.
You'd think it's weight, but I think it's just placing the bike at the right time. He finds out the slower riders. He finds out their lap times, and he goes, well, if I place myself 3 seconds behind him by the first long straight, I should be tagged on. That's a slipstream. Another couple seconds around, we'll hit the next straight. I'll be tagged on to the next bloke, and he's slow, so I'll be able to get through him. You mean for time trial? Okay.
For
like qualifying and stuff.
Okay.
Like time, and it's just crazy how good he is at putting himself in the right position, even when it comes to the race. Right. In Indonesia a couple weeks ago, me and him were at the front basically the entire race, and we were just battling back and forth, and I was going, he's not that fast. He's braking early. He's not got that much corner speed. And he ended up dropping back. And it's crazy that each one, and it doesn't matter which track or where he is, if he's 10th or if he's 2nd, once he goes over that line, I don't know how he does it, but the way he positions himself, he's always first. Whether he gets the right slipstreams or the right passes, I don't know. He just calculates everything perfect. And I think it's because, he's started racing at 8 years old in 125 classes where there was 40, 50 riders, and he's been racing in classes that big for so long that he probably knows how to do all that, where here in Australia we have classes that are 10 to 15 riders big, and, everyone's separated. There's no racecraft here in Australia, to be honest. You don't get much of it. Yeah. So it's quite hard getting that racecraft for me because I only really ride at a go-kart track by myself. There's no racecraft there. That's all just my own riding, where they're overseas getting racecraft every weekend, which really does work when it comes to them sort of things. You don't have to be, when there's a group of 17 riders, you don't have to be smart. You just have to be aggressive and just, you just got to know where to be. It doesn't matter how fast you are or how quick your corner speed is, because you can make it back up in 10 meters of a straight. So it just comes down to whoever's the smartest, to be honest, and the most aggressive. So that's...
Is there aggression? Oh, there must be, because there's nothing in it. Well, the disappointment when you're having a great race and someone does something dopey in front of you and you lose. Yeah. The whole weekend is ruined because of little things that happen and you can't let them off your mind. You can't sleep at night.
Yeah, well...
Then it happens again in the next race and you're like, ah!
Yeah, see, when it comes to us, when there's 15, 16, 17, how many riders there are? They're all... Being Asian riders, the way me and my dad have looked at it for years, when you look at them, you can see the hunger in their eyes, and you just know because when you travel to Malaysia and Indonesia, they don't have it like we do. They have tin roofs of little things, and, when they race, they're trying to pull their families out of poverty. So if you're in their way and they're trying to pull themselves out of poverty, they will take you out. They don't care. And when they come into the pits, they're all, sorry about that, all good, no hard feelings. They're just out there to win. And it's, at the time, it's good because that gets you the right sort of racecraft, the right this. But at a time, it's really dangerous. Because like last year in Thailand, like I said, I won a race. I did win, but I didn't, to be honest. I did enter the corner in about second, third. And all the riders, the two in front of me just completely just braked way out of their league, which I knew I wasn't going to break there because I knew they had no time making the corner. And 4 or 5 riders just blew past me just trying to brake too late. And there was 5 riders that went into the corner in front of me, went probably 10 metres off track, but kept it flat out and just come straight back on. So actually I did finish 6th, but me being the only rider to keep on track, I did get the win after penalties. So, that was good to me to get a win because I wasn't excited about getting any podium. I was just excited about 25 points. That boosted me up from 12th in the championship to 7th in the last round, which was huge for me because I just wanted a top 10 in that season. And, coming into this year, it was difficult because, I'd had a win, but, I really hadn't been over the line in first. So it had been a lot of pressure, trying to get to that first podium. And in Malaysia at the start, I had 2 chances at the podium where I come into the last corner third, but got shuffled around a bit and lost out with my weight across the finish line. So I didn't get it there. And then come to Thailand in race 1, it was huge group, 16, 17 riders. And I was about 10th or 9th coming into the last corner, but I braked really late and got myself up into, I think I was up into second. And just as I was entering the corner, I thought, the finish line's in 10 metres. They can't slipstream me from here. I've got my first podium. And across the ripple strip come a bike out of nowhere and straight into the back of my leg and high side down I went.
Wow.
And 8 of us went down in that one. Wow. Just for some guy that broke at a 10 metre mark, which should have been 40 metre mark.
On the last straight.
Yep, coming into the last corner.
Coming into the last corner.
And he come from 18th all the way, which I was second at the time, and hit me. Like, that's just crazy. The things they do, sometimes that just made me so angry. Like, I couldn't understand why you would do that. Like, okay, try and get a couple of positions on braking, but when is 15 positions ever possible? Like, that's just out of your capabilities. And it was hard because as soon as I hit the ground, I stood up and, there was 8 bikes all over the place. And I was like, oh, there goes my first podium. Yeah. And it was hard because all the bikes are exactly the same. I'm going, well, which one's mine? And I was really lucky because I had my transponder on the front, like my own lap time that I'd brought over from Australia. It was on the front of the bike. I knew that was mine. But, I didn't give up. I got the bike up, got it over the line. I didn't care how bent up it was. I still finished 10th.
Okay.
That's points, Yep. So to get 10th, and I was only 16 seconds, I should say, behind. It didn't take me long to get up and going. Which was good. We got 5 points in that one. 10th position wasn't bad from a crash, but I was devastated. My first podium, which got ruined from some guy who just went way out of his capabilities, which was really unlucky for us. But, a lot of people...
Yeah, how many have you would have had these stories 100 times before though, right?
Oh, to be honest, I've had a few, but like in dirt track, I probably would have crashed 4 or 5 times in 10 years.
Really?
I don't crash much.
Okay.
So touch wood, but I've never been a crasher. And road racing, I've probably had 4 or 5 in the last couple of years, and 2 or 3 of them have been due to other riders. Right. So that's been quite unlucky, but that was good because the second race I really come out fighting, and it was another big group, 16, 17 riders, but I timed it right and come from, 9th into the last corner. I just under braking, but I went really far up the inside just in case I was ever going to hit someone. I wasn't going to rear end them and take them out, but I kept it on. And I did get up the inside of 6 riders to get myself over for the first podium I had. I got 3rd in that one, which was really good. I just missed out on the second, actually, which was a bit of a bummer by like 0.002. It's like 200ths of a second. But, it was good to just get up there and get my first taste of the podium. I didn't care whether I was 1st or 3rd. That was, it was a taste of it, and that was good. We went to Suzuka the next round and had a 2-hour endurance race, which was actually a team race, which I didn't mention. And that was teamed up with an Indonesian rider it was awesome because what they did last year, they pulled it out of a hat, and it was really bad because, you could be the fastest rider teamed up with the slowest.
Yeah.
So that was really tricky, but what they actually did was put first with third, second with fourth. So they sort of equaled out everyone's capabilities. So they didn't go first and second, so it was almost like an instant win. And I got teamed up with a young Indonesian rider, which is really fast. And he was actually I was sitting third, he was fifth. So we got teamed up. And he's one of the front runners, but he had a crash in the before round, which made him drop back in the championship. So I teamed up perfectly. He's 42 kilos, which made it hard for setup. But, it was a good race for us. And in the Suzuka, they actually get a bunch of local Japanese riders to team up and, include them in the Asia Dream Cup. It's definitely, it's separated points, but they just throw them in there to make it fun for 2 hours. There's a lot of people on track. There was 75 teams. So it was full on.
75 teams?
Yes. And
75 bikes?
Bikes, yeah. So 100 and something riders.
Far out.
And that was really good because I was top 3 every session against all them people.
Wow.
And I made a huge improvement. I dropped from last year to this year, I dropped 7 seconds around that circuit, which was huge for me. And I qualified second and my teammate qualified fourth. So we actually started in third, which was quite good for the 2 hours. And I got off the line really well. And I was the first Asia Dream Cup rider. The first 3 were local Japanese that had been around the circuit 1,000 times. Their bikes were actually a fair bit modded up, which was a bit, but that's all good. They were separated with points, so I didn't care. Yep. But I was third on the grid. I was the first Asia Dream Cup rider. The next one was about 12th or 13th. So, we proved a point, me and my teammate. And, I did an hour, then I jumped off. He did an hour, but it was for the first 4 or 5 laps, I dropped back to fourth and I just sat in fourth. The first, second, third and myself, we actually split maybe 15, 20 seconds to fifth and we were gone and we were all just hanging together riding, we were playing it smart and, about 20 minutes in, I started getting really bad fog in my visor. I couldn't see and because I was in fourth, I was getting heaps of fog.
Is it raining?
Yeah, pouring down.
Wow.
Been pouring for the last 3-4 hours. So the track had rivers going everywhere.
Did you do tyre changes in that or do they have grooves in the tyres?
Yeah, just wets. We wore wets. We put on wets before the race, so we didn't have to change. And, we got out there and then half an hour in, I was fourth and I was fogged up. I couldn't see. I just couldn't focus. I was making mistakes everywhere because I could hardly see the track. So I thought, geez, I got to get myself to the front here and try and break the roost that I'm getting off all the water. And I got to
pause you there. What do you do? My mate sells a tube that you stick in your mouth and blows it because people don't understand just how crazy fog is when you're racing, and it happens all the time. It happened in sprint cars. I'd have to put duct tape over my nose because clay would block up the vents.
Yep.
Right. So what do you do in bike racing?
Well, we put actually some anti-fog on the visor. Put on some cat crap, I think it's called or something. Yeah. And we put that on the visor, but
you can't trust it.
No,
and every time you breathe out, if you get angry or something, you get a bit frustrated.
Or you make one mistake and you go, and it's just straight up in the visor, which was really bad. And I tried everything. I tried to breathe through my mouth, my nose, just everything. I even lifted the visor up a couple times just to try and let the fog out. But it was there. It wasn't going away. So I got to the front. And it was just worse because being in fourth, I'd go slow in the corners and just catch up down the straights. But being first, I had to push everywhere. So I started making mistakes. So I dropped back to fourth and then coming up one of the hills, third went down in front of me. And it really gave me a fright because it was a 180 kilometre corner. Yeah. And he just went flying off. And the track was getting much slippery and slippery. 2 corners later, second went down. So I was into second. I was just casually sitting there with first and, it would have been 45 minutes into the race. I only had 10, 15 more to go and I was coming into the corner behind the bloke in front of me. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if I breathed differently or what happened, but the visor just puffed and I just couldn't see anything. So it was like we were coming into a right corner down the hill and it was either go straight, hit the dirt and potentially hit the concrete wall or just turn and hope for good and hopefully it laxes itself out. But unfortunately, I turned too early and hit the ripple strip, which at the time, ripple strips when it's raining, they're really slippery. Yeah. So I did high side when I was in second, which was a bit of a bummer for us this year. But, I went down and I would have lost. I had a 3-minute lead over the next Asia Dream Cup rider. So we were on for an easy win, but there's nothing I could have done about that crash. And I got the bike up and my bike was bent up and the Japanese masters were telling me, get off, you can't ride that thing. But, I wasn't going to give up and just throw away all them points. That's championship points. So it took me about 3 minutes to get going. I hit my head, blacked out for a bit. Had to get my bike going. My bike was all bent up. So I had to get straight back on. I lost about 2.5